Authorities are still trying to determine the motive behind the Las Vegas massacre. Annenberg media reporters are there and talk with survivors and volunteers.
Yesterday's campus scare caused a major disruption. We'll hear from a student who was in the classroom where it started and find out the latest about the professor in that class.
And just as President Trump wraps up his visit to Puerto Rico, we're getting new information about the number killed in the disaster.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
Memorials are appearing on the Las Vegas Strip as we are learning more about the victims from the tearful recollections of friends and family. As we learn more about the victims, authorities are learning about the meticulous plans laid out by the gunman responsible for the largest mass shooting in U.S. history. Good evening, I'm Will Farnsworth.
And I'm Judy Tsai. We have a team of reporters on the ground in Las Vegas. They have the latest on how residents and visitors are coming together to try and rebuild the community.
59 people were killed in Sunday night's shooting. 527 people are reported to be injured. At least 17 people from Southern California were killed in the shooting. We've learned that the gunman grew up in the San Fernando Valley and attended Cal State Northridge. Authorities say Stephen Paddock had 23 guns at the hotel and at least 26 more guns at his 2 properties in Nevada.
Annenberg Media's Brittany Hope is live in Las Vegas with more on how victims are being helped. She spent time at a hospital and a blood drive.
That's right. I'm here at the University Medical Center where friends and family of loved ones who were injured on Sunday night are waiting in high security areas just behind me inside the hospital. Now, many of these loved ones have no idea when they'll be going home. Many haven't even received a prognosis for their loved ones. So there's been nonprofits and different volunteers coming in and out of this road behind me all day, bringing food, water, and supplies to these families who are waiting in this terrible waiting period. Now, I got to tell you, the UMC is one of the only trauma centers in the U.S. In fact, it's the only trauma center here in Nevada. And I have to give you an idea of how much is here. There's 11 trauma units just inside here. There's 3 operating rooms. There's an intensive care unit. But that just wasn't enough for the hundreds of patients who fled in through the door Sunday night. Hospital authorities say that patients were in waiting rooms, they were in actual rooms, and they were in the hallways on their gurneys, and their family members were waiting in the cafeteria. One woman was with her friend at the music concert on Sunday night when he was shot and died right next to her. And another man who luckily survived Sunday night says he just can't bear to see the witnesses, to see the images from Sunday night.
And I didn't want Jordan to not have somebody with him. I didn't want him to just be a no-named body. I knew who he was, and now I had an obligation to make sure that everybody knew who he was.
I've avoided seeing the victims and seeing pictures of people that have killed, and I was there, and they're a lot younger than me, and they don't get to go home. I get to go home today, back to LA to see my daughter, but they don't.
In and out of the hospital.
Earlier today, I was in the hospital parking lot where there was a massive blood drive going on. I spoke to a representative from the Union Blood Services who says they have received 36,000 calls from donors just in the Las Vegas area who are wanting to donate blood. Now, they obviously couldn't let everyone donate blood. They would have a blood surplus. So they were only able to take 600 blood yesterday and 600 people who gave blood today. Now, with this blood drive, I got to tell you, spirits were extremely high. There were musicians who made a makeshift stage who were performing. There was people who brought their dogs for donors to pet while they were receiving their blood. There was even musicians who came and stopped their shows at the Strip to come and perform some magic tricks. It was really an amazing community going on. It's pretty incredible to see what the community here in Vegas has done in the past 48 hours. So people who came to donate blood today, who I talked to, some just came to support their community and others came in honor of their friends.
Fortunately, there was enough blood on the hospital shelves to take care of the immediate needs. So as a system, United Blood Services sent 200 blood components to Las Vegas to make sure that there was enough blood to get, through the night and the next day. On Monday, yesterday, we began collecting additional blood donations. We had extra blood mobiles at our 3 donor centers. We also set up this special blood drive at the UMC parking lot. That's the University Medical Center.
Because of the tragedy that happened, I know they're probably going to need blood for months and months and months at a time, not just right away. And so I want to give as much as I can possible.
Tonight, the City of Lights is pretty quiet. I drove around the Strip earlier. I really only saw a few tourists. There was mainly just emergency vehicles and police really lining the Strip inside and outside of every resort and casino here. And now the billboards on the Strip, they're not showing ads anymore for the shows going on or restaurants. It's all images with the hashtag Vegas Strong. There's messages of gratitude to the first responders, and there's images of hearts and hands holding. This city is really coming together in light of this tragedy. And for those of you who want more info on this or who want to help locate a family member, call the Las Vegas Strip Shooting Information Hotline. The number is 866-535-5354. And for now, all those involved in Sunday night's tragedy know that you are in our thoughts and prayers. Live from Las Vegas with Annenberg Media, I'm Brittany Hope. Back to you in LA.
Well, hundreds of students and faculty at the University of Las Vegas, Nevada held a candlelight vigil to remember victims of the massacre that happened just 2 miles from their campus. Some were in tears, others held their friends for comfort. Many were in shock. In the hours after the shooting, survivors turned to the UNLV Thomas and Mack Center for shelter and to the school community for support. The vigil gave students an outlet to express their thoughts.
They gave me some candles, and I just went to the spot where all the candles were myself, and I just started bawling myself, and it was a little emotional for me because I was in the moment. The girl next to me, I watched her get shot in the leg, and I was there, and it just keeps replaying in my mind like a movie, and as soon as I walked in and I saw those candles, like that could have been me.
Similar vigils and events are taking place not only in Las Vegas but across the country as Americans come together to honor the victims.
The state of Nevada has some of the more lenient gun laws in the United States. Firearm owners are not required to have licenses or register their weapons with the state, and there is no limit to the number of firearms a person can own. It is also legal to carry guns openly or concealed in bars, restaurants, and casinos. Our reporter Sophie Flay spoke to some Las Vegas residents who are feeling unfazed despite Sunday's mass shooting.
We're just as safe as we always were. It's really hard to predict the actions of somebody who's deranged, so I don't feel like our safety is in question.
Do you think that
I'm not sure that stricter gun laws would have prevented it. I think that he was deranged and he was going to find a way to do.
Debate over firearm regulation has reignited the nation's capital as a result of the Las Vegas massacre. Legislators in Washington are sticking to their guns.
The people have been traumatized by the event. That's what we should be talking about now. If we have members here who want to propose something, put it in writing, file a bill, let's have that discussion.
What is unacceptable in the wake of the most deadly mass shooting in the history of the country is for this utter silence.
We need to have that discussion on gun safety. We hear it from our constituents pleading with us to do something, to act. And every time we see one of these tragedies, we hear from the Republican side of the aisle, now is not the time. Now is the time.
The debate on gun regulation hasn't changed the nation's gun control policies in many years. Congress has not passed any gun control legislation since 2007.
Recent traumatic events on and off campus have left many people worried and looking for ways to cope. We talked with a psychiatrist about what can help after tragic events, especially for young people.
If they were directly involved in the incident, they may experience similar types of post-traumatic reactions as you will see with adults, particularly if they felt at the time that they were in danger or someone they cared about was in danger. See what thoughts and feelings that they have currently. Sometimes children have fears, worries, or concerns that are based on incomplete information or misinformation. And if we can correct their thinking and understanding of the event, they may be reassured.
Schoenfeld says the best way to help those affected by recent events is to let them know you are there for them. He says it's important that people talk about their feelings when they are ready.
LAPD tells Annenberg Media that the USC professor detained after falsely reporting an active shooter on campus is no longer in police custody. Professor Amy Granados was taken into police custody after allegedly telling her students there was an active shooter on campus. An alert went out to the USC community to shelter in place. DPS says Granados is undergoing a 72-hour evaluation. LAPD will examine those results and decide if further action should be taken.
I hope the students feel a little bit safer. The response time was amazing. They were able to come before I was able to go to a teacher, figure out a plan, and de-escalate. So they were already, I was on the 3rd floor, so they were already clearing the 3rd floor extremely quick.
DPS says campus security worked quickly with LAPD to resolve the incident. Tomorrow they will meet with police to review what happened and what they might do to improve their response. Annenberg Media has reached out to USC Media Relations several times, but so far we have not received any comment.
Physics professors from Caltech are getting worldwide recognition. Details straight ahead.
President Trump visited Puerto Rico to see the damage from Hurricane Maria and meet the mayor he attacked on Twitter.
A famous rocker passed away from cardiac arrest, and his fans created a memorial on his Hollywood star.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
The governor of Puerto Rico said late today that the number of people killed as a result of Hurricane Maria has risen to 34. There's at least $90 billion in damage. President Trump visited the island today for the first time since the disaster. Trump's visit included a meeting with Puerto Rico's Governor Ricardo Rosell and a visit to the Relief Center at Calvary Chapel.
16 people versus in the thousands. You can be very proud of all of your people, all of our people working together.
President Trump has faced sharp criticism from San Juan's mayor, Carmen Yulín Cruz, for his slow response to the disaster. A student in San Juan says her country has suffered a tragic disaster.
It hurts my heart to see that he's saying, yes, I'm proud of our work and everything, but where are the pains? Why are there people dying? And you are proud. Why are there still people dying?
The president will return to the White House this evening. He plans to visit Las Vegas tomorrow.
2 Caltech professors and another from MIT just won the Nobel Prize for Physics. They found waves in outer space that Einstein thought would be impossible to detect.
If the quest to observe gravitational waves could succeed, it could bring a revolution in human understanding of the universe. And that's why I, as a theorist, decided that I and my theory students and postdocs would do everything that we possibly could to help Ray and Ron and their experimental research groups create gravitational astronomy.
Previously, astronomers had to rely on light to study the universe. Now they can learn about space by observing ripples made by waves of gravity.
The music world has lost a legend. Singer and songwriter Tom Petty died yesterday of a heart attack at the age of 66.
No, I won't back down.
Petty's hits with the Heartbreakers have been at the top of the charts for years. He sold 80 million records in his 47-year-long career. Today, fans in mourning of the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer placed flowers on his Hollywood star. We spoke with students for reaction from the millennial generation. Were you a fan of Tom Petty?
I wouldn't say so. Obviously, like, it lost a legend, and like there's been many times that different types of music genres have lost people that mean a lot to them. And so I think for the next month or so, there's gonna be like an influx of people listening to it or becoming fans again of the music. And overall, it's really sad. It'll be talked about for years to come.
Do you know who Tom Petty is?
No, I have no idea, but I would love to know who he is.
Petty's death prompted an outpouring of grief on social media from a wide range of celebrities, including Rolling Stones frontman Mick Jagger and Apple CEO Tim Cook. Now, Judy, it's been getting kind of cool out, hasn't it?
It has, and to find out more about temperatures the next few days, we'll go to our weather anchor, Taylor.
Thanks, guys. While it may have been a little cooler today, don't expect the heat to go anywhere anytime soon. Let's take a look at our current conditions. Right now, we're at about 70 degrees out with just a slight breeze. And taking a look at tomorrow, in the mountains, we're going to be slightly cooler at about 65 degrees in Big Bear and heating up in the desert at about 90 degrees in Palm Springs. And in the valley, it's going to be in the 80s with about 85 degrees in Thousand Oaks and 86 degrees in Northridge. And back at USC, we'll be at a nice 80 degrees tomorrow. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Temperatures will continue to rise over the next few days with 90 degrees on Friday. And temperatures will begin to drop starting Sunday. Well, guys, thank God that, even though it is heating up this week, Sunday, we can expect temperatures to start cooling down.
Really looking forward to it. Pleasant Sundays.
I'm looking forward to busting out my fall wardrobe. An exciting development for shoppers, Westfield Century City is set to reopen after $1 billion in renovations and 2 years of construction. The new mall comes with open-air spaces, courtyards, and big retailers. Its redesign includes a large entertainment venue, restaurants, and VIP lounges. Mayor Eric Garcetti's office has organized a pop-up shop called LA Originals. The goal is to promote products by local brands. Some employees and customers are optimistic about the new features.
I love the outdoor layout, and I think the shops are great, and the restaurants. It's a great vibe.
I think it'll draw tourism, and I think it'll draw the locals, and I think it betters the environment. It's a big step up from what it was.
The Westfield Mall reopening ceremony will take place tonight. Mayor Eric Garcetti, Westfield's CEOs, and celebrities are all expected to be there.
All right, Pete, Wildcard Baseball starts tonight. What have you got for us?
Well, it's a good game going on in New York. It's also a loaded week for USC sports. USC volleyball will also be playing this weekend as they take on Arizona. We'll be giving you live updates from that wildcard game in New York. The football team was back at practice today, but an assortment of injuries the Trojans did not suit up as the injury list continued to grow. We'll let you know who those players are after the break.
You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. Why would you do that?
Probably okay isn't okay. Call a cab, a car, or a friend.
Good choice.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to savethefood.com.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There
There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Clay Helton's crew was banged up to say the least heading into Friday's game at Washington State, and after suffering their first loss of the season, the Trojans endured even more injuries as multiple players couldn't make it through 4 quarters. The offensive line took a beating when tackle Chuma Edoga left the game with an ankle injury, and right guard Viana Talamaevo strained his pectoral muscle. Ronald Jones was back in action and had 128 yards on the ground, but his partner in the backfield, Stephen Carr, limped off the field and could miss up to 3 weeks with a foot ailment. Thankfully, this Saturday the Trojans will face one of their weaker opponents of the year when Oregon State visits the Coliseum. The Beavers are looking for their first win on the road since 2014 and have not beaten USC in Los Angeles since 1960. The Trojans are favored by a colossal 34 points, which is their largest point spread heading into a game this season. The Trojans should be eager to face an Oregon State defense that has been porous through their first 5 games, allowing 490 yards and over 46 points a game. We know USC won't be at full strength for this matchup, but they should be in a good position to get back in the win column. Let's go from the gridiron to the hardwood because the 12th-ranked women's volleyball team won their 5th straight game on Sunday and are now a perfect 4-0 in Pac-12 play after sweeping the number 6th-ranked Washington Huskies. It was senior outside hitter Brittany Abercrombie who led the way once again for the Trojans, racking up 13 kills in the win against Washington State Saturday and 13 more on Sunday versus the Huskies. Those stellar performances allowed Abercrombie to win her 2nd consecutive Pac-12 Player of the Week award, a feat that hasn't been accomplished by a Trojan in 2 years.
I think the takeaway is that we're going to do better and better with taller teams. We're getting comfortable with that now, and that's good. Our hitters are more relaxed. They don't have to kill the ball on the floor every time. That's good. So I think there's a lot of learning going on right now. And I hate to play for wins when we're learning, but we have to do both at the same time. So just have to be patient.
The Trojans are now 12-3 on the year and a perfect 5-0 at home, but they'll be tested on the road when they take on Arizona in the desert this Friday. The number 7th-ranked women's soccer team will also be heading to Tucson this week with their own 6-game winning streak on the line. We talked to Coach McAlpine, who's been impressed with the way his group has been able to stay in matches.
One of the things that I think has shown itself over and over and again is our competitive spirit, our willingness not to give up even in moments where we're down and down late, and finding ways to win games that some would probably give up on.
We're focusing on getting the results and winning and just coming out every game with a high intensity and just finishing these teams off early.
Yesterday, junior defender Erica Okuma won the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week award after assisting on both goals in a 2-1 comeback victory over Oregon on Sunday. The Trojans haven't lost a game since September 3rd and will look to continue their winning ways Thursday night in Arizona. Well, we're 3 days into October, so that means it's time for playoff baseball. Postseason play kicked off tonight with the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees facing each other in the American League wildcard game. So far, the Twins are trailing 4-3 after they jumped out to a 3-0 lead as Brian Dozier hit a leadoff home run on a 99-mile-an-hour pitch from Luis Severino, but Severino's now out of the game, and Irvin Santana got lit up in the bottom of the first. It was Didi Gregorius going yard for a 3-run homer. Now Brett Gardner's also hit a solo shot, so that's giving New York a 4-3 lead. Remember, the winner of this game will travel to Cleveland and face the Indians in a best 3-out-of-5 series starting on Thursday. So guys, will you be in town this weekend to go see the Trojans at the Coliseum?
Absolutely, wouldn't miss it for the world.
Awesome.
A popular social media app introduced a new update.
And we'll take you back live to Las Vegas.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck.
So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Let's go back to Annenberg Media's Brittany Hope, who is live in Las Vegas. She's joined by our reporter Taylor Edgehill, who spent the afternoon reporting from the Strip. Brittany?
So I'm here with one of our other reporters, Taylor Edgehill, who was able to go to downtown Las Vegas earlier today. She talked to some local business owners and checked out the scene on the Strip over there. So Taylor, can you tell me a little bit about what you saw, what you heard down there today?
Absolutely, Brittany. So I was in downtown Las Vegas today, which is at the completely other end of the Strip from where the massacre occurred Sunday night. And even so far away, the impact was definitely felt. Although many of the companies that I spoke to could not give me an official comment because the issue is so sensitive, obviously. I did talk to some managers who told me that the Strip down there yesterday was pretty much completely empty of customers, tourists, even the entertainers who frequent the area often. And even today when I went down there, it was pretty empty. So you could tell there was definitely an impact in terms of how many people go to the area.
Right. And earlier when we both went to Mandalay Bay, we tried to get as close to the crime scene as we could, but we were quickly chased away by officers. We were able to see that 32nd story window that was crashed, but that's all we could really see over there. It was pretty empty as well. You know, as we said earlier, we are keeping all the victims and their families in our thoughts and prayers. Now back to you in the studio. And again, you see this driveway right behind me, Taylor. We've been seeing a lot of families coming in and out today, bringing goods. Can you just talk a little bit about, you know, the people we're seeing on the sidewalk next to us, how everyone's looking?
I think everyone in light of the events is doing pretty well. I've also seen a lot of police officers along this area and along the Strip as well. And they've actually been talking to a lot of bystanders on the streets, comforting them, trying to answer all of their questions. So I think there's really a lot of community unity going on in terms of police officing as well.
Right. And Las Vegas is staying strong as a community. Thank you again. And back to the studio.
And finally, tonight, Snapchat is partnering with artists on a new augmented reality feature. Users can go to different locations around the world to view art on their phone screens. For example, Snapchat users at Venice Beach can choose the right filter to find a Play-Doh sculpture by Jeff Koons. The artwork appears on the screen and users can look at it from different angles and get closer or further away.
I think it's going to get more people out into the real world instead of being stuck in their phones and their computers, so I think that'll be good.
It's a bad idea because people aren't really actually stepping up to the artist and actually visualizing the art personally.
Myself, I wasn't a Pokemon player. I like art, so I'd rather find art pieces than a bunch of little Pokemon.
Artists apply online to Snapchat for a chance to have their work displayed in augmented reality around the world. Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Judy Tsai.
And I'm Will Farnsworth. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.